My boyfriend's mom hugged me at dinner and whispered, "If he proposes tonight, say no." Then she slid a pregnancy test into my purse. I thought she was trying to ruin my relationship. I had no idea she was trying to save my life. His name was Mason. Golden retriever energy, perfect smile, finance job. The kind of man my friends called husband material after meeting him once. We'd been dating 11 months when he invited me to his parents' lake house for 4th of July weekend. I was nervous because I'd never met his family. Mason kept reassuring me the whole drive. "My mom's gonna love you." That should have comforted me. Instead, it weirdly sounded rehearsed. The second we arrived, his mother opened the door before we even knocked. Diane, beautiful in a cold, expensive way. Pearl earrings, perfect posture, and eyes that immediately locked onto me like she was studying evidence. She hugged me tightly, too tightly, then whispered directly into my ear, "If he asks tonight, say no." I froze. What? But she'd already pulled away smiling. "Mason, sweetheart, help your father with the grill." Like nothing happened. The entire afternoon felt wrong after that. His dad barely spoke. His younger sister looked terrified of everyone, and Diane kept watching me, not judging, worrying. At dinner, Mason reached under the table and squeezed my hand. "You okay?" Before I could answer, his mother dropped a wine glass. It shattered everywhere. Everyone jumped except Mason. He looked annoyed. Diane stared at me while kneeling to clean it, then quietly said, "Emily, could you help me in the kitchen?" The second we were alone, she grabbed my wrist. "Are you on birth control?" My stomach dropped. "What? You need to answer me honestly." I pulled away immediately. That's insanely inappropriate. She looked like she wanted to say something else, then stopped herself. Instead, she opened a drawer, pulled out a small box, and shoved it into my purse. "A pregnancy test. What the hell is wrong with you?" I whispered, her eyes filled with tears instantly. "Please." That was it, just please. Then Mason walked in, and Diane's entire personality changed. Bright smile, calm voice, desserts ready. Like the conversation never happened. That night, fireworks exploded outside while everyone drank on the dock. Mason disappeared briefly to grab something from inside. The second he left, his sister Harper leaned toward me fast. "You need to leave." Every hair on my body stood up. What? Her hands were shaking. "He gets worse after engagement." My heart stopped. Before I could ask anything, Mason came back smiling with a velvet ring box. The entire family went silent. No excitement, no cheering, just silence. Then Mason got down on one knee, and his mother started crying. Not happy, crying, terrified crying. "Emily Parker," he smiled. "Will you marry me?" I looked around, his father staring at the floor, Harper visibly panicking, Diane shaking her head almost invisibly. Something inside me screamed, so I said, "Can I think about it?" Mason froze. The smile didn't disappear, but something behind it did. For half a second, his face became completely empty. Of course, too calm, way too calm. Later that night, I locked myself in the guest room and finally opened the pregnancy test box. Inside wasn't just a test. There was a folded note, 3 words, "Check the vent." I stared at it for 10 straight seconds, then slowly looked toward the air vent near the floor. I actually debated ignoring it, because this was insane. But curiosity won. I unscrewed the vent cover with a butter knife and found dozens of folded papers shoved inside. My hands started shaking immediately. They were letters, all written by women, different handwriting, different dates, but every single one started similarly. If you're reading this, you're probably engaged to Mason. My blood turned to ice. One letter described him smashing a girl's phone because she went to brunch without texting him back. Another described him locking someone in a bathroom during arguments. Another said, "He tracks your cycle. Don't get pregnant." Pregnancy is when he stops pretending. I physically stopped breathing. Then I found a photo. Bruised wrists, bruised neck, and written on the back. He said nobody would believe me because he comes from a perfect family. I heard footsteps outside the bedroom. I quickly shoved everything back into the vent. Then Mason knocked softly. "You okay in there?" I couldn't answer because suddenly every little thing made sense. The constant location sharing, the subtle guilt trips, the way he once got angry because a waiter called me pretty. Then Mason's voice came again. Softer this time, Emily. The doorknob moved slightly locked. Silence. Then finally, "Don't embarrass me in front of my family." Cold flooded my chest because it wasn't a request. It was a warning. I barely slept. At 3 a.m. I quietly packed my bag when I opened the bedroom door. Diane was already standing there, like she'd been waiting. She looked exhausted. "You found the letters." Not a question. I nodded slowly. "Why didn't you stop him?" Tears immediately filled her eyes. "Because I married his father." That answer hit me instantly. Generational learned behavior. Fear. Then she whispered, "I failed the others." "I couldn't fail you too." My throat tightened. "How many others were there?" She looked away. 3 engagements. My stomach dropped, and none of them stayed. "Because of the letters." "No," she whispered. "Because eventually they all escaped." Then footsteps creaked upstairs. Mason. Diane immediately shoved car keys into my hand. "Go. Now. What about you?" Her smile broke my heart. "Mothers like me don't usually leave." Then she quietly added, "But maybe daughters still can." I drove 3 hours home shaking the locked Mason on everything. Changed my locks, and 2 weeks later, I took the pregnancy test. Negative. Thank God. But sometimes I still think about Diane standing in that hallway alone, waiting for another girl to save before her son became someone else's nightmare.